That's... Oh, now that you already come, let's have the mistake.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters.
Yes.
It's the winters, and with winters comes Diwali, and after Diwali comes the auspicious time in the Indian astrological system for marriages. This time is infamous for marriages. I have avoided attending a Punjabi wedding, specifically a Punjabi wedding, for more than 3 years now. The reason? Well, I don't have many friends and I was outside, so I was able to avoid it. Sadly, I returned home and there was a marriage right next to my house. Most of you know that your relationship with your neighbors is not very friendly. I assume everybody agrees with me. It's mostly passive aggressive. They park their car in front of our house, we try to park our scooters there so that, they're paid back in the same coin. Needless to say that marriages with neighbors are very strange. This speech was going to be a rant. I was very angry at them. However, this past week, I've come to terms with that wedding. And I've decided that I accept weddings because in the end, they're a beautiful thing. They're symbolic of so many things. Like, have you ever noticed that in every wedding, the band plays those huge trombones and bagpipes? It's very symbolic. I'll refer you to Bollywood movies. Remember when that tone rings like that's when something bad happens. And that's what it's symbolic of. Weddings. It's not just for the groom. It's also for the groom and the bride both. I'll refer you to my point number 2. There's always ladies sangeet. You've never heard girls sangeet, you've never heard guys sangeet, you've never heard men's sangeet. It's always ladies sangeet. There's a reason for that. Because ladies have just now found another thing to gossip about. I mean, you can listen to those songs. Most of those songs are either making fun of the groom, making fun of the bride, or making fun of their relatives. And their relatives are singing it. I don't know how that irony is lost on them, but that's what they do. Well, this wedding, by the way, the groom was in Canada for 10 years. And he came to India. He's 3 years younger to me, and he decides to marry some random girl, I assume, because it's not like he returned after, between those 10 years. He just came and suddenly I come to know, well, he's marrying someone from Sector 20. Well, that was interesting. That brings me to their nightly celebrations. For the entire week leading up to the marriage, every night there was loud music playing, there were drunk people dancing outside. That kept me up all night, and even that is symbolic. It's symbolic of the bride and groom. I don't mean just the wedding night. They're going to stay up on the wedding night, or maybe not because they'll be very tired, but no. They have to stay up all night, day after day, either because of fighting, or you know what comes after marriages? Kids. Those crying, pooping bundles of joy which everybody hates and yet everybody has at one point of their lives. That's what I'm saying. Marriages are very symbolic. Each and every ceremony which you have, it's a precursor. If you've heard that there's a poem in which an albatross is called a harbinger. Marriages are harbingers. They are symbols to what's to come in the future. Well, I went to their wedding ceremony. That wedding ceremony was amazing. You know what it was? It was a 400 square feet hall. And there were around 5 people per square foot there because it was crammed with people. That's also symbolic. I've come to accept it. Weddings are very symbolic. At one point in your life, because you're married, there are going to be relatives, not just from your side, their side. Not all of those relatives you like with whom you hang out, but random relatives from, your maternal uncle's friend's sister and their kids. And it's a lot of ruckus, and that's what that cramming into a small space is specifying for them. Well, moving on, that wedding ceremony was very interesting for me because, as I said, it was my neighbor's wedding. Most of my neighbors, well, they know each other very well. I, on the other hand, have been very antisocial. I do not know anyone. Now I am standing there at the side. I cannot even drink because I have a problem that I cannot drink alone. I need someone to give me company, to have some conversation. There I am standing holding a Coke in my hand, and these old uncles. Now these old uncles, they're so old like they walk with a stick during normal times, and they can't even walk properly. They're like, "Beta, please help me here and please bring this." Those same uncles, after having 2 pegs, are dancing on the dance floor. So it's very symbolic. This is also symbolic because the groom or the bride at one point will be so sick of the other person that only alcohol will be able to move them. Well, then we moved on to the actual wedding ceremony, where they put the varmala, those garlands, into each other's necks. Just like I mentioned necks, I am pretty sure you've guessed what I'm hinting at. Those are not garlands, those are collars for each other. But then there's also the ceremony where they go around the fire. And despite all the jealousy which the bride's friends feel and the fun which the groom's friends make of him, it's a beautiful thing because in the end that fire is symbolizing a sacred bond. You're going around a fire or you're going around your sacred book. It symbolizes something. It symbolizes a sacred bond which in this world is not very prevalent, but it was really beautiful to see 2 people commit to that. So I've come to accept that wedding. Thank you.